Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So this whole Daniel Kinahan and his dad and the whole Kinahan gang, let me tell you, man, these guys are all over the place. And they're still involved in wrongdoing. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk a little bit about this Kinahan guy, Daniel and his dad, is because, look, you're talking about an organization that is worth over 1 billion pounds. Now, we look at what's going on with boxing and how money is all of a sudden seems to be drying up, right? Makes you wonder where money was coming from. We've always, it's no secret that, boxing, can be corrupt. There are a lot of people with, vested interests and, the outcomes of certain fights. It's been going on for years. It's nothing new, mob involvement. And as a result, there's a lot of money to be made. And when you look at the type of money that was being put up for, like, Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, across those few fights, and now you're looking at potentially, we'll see what happens, but Tyson Fury not getting the kind of money he wanted for Saudi Arabia. The fact that he was even, entertaining possibly getting, 500 million pounds, which is absolute madness. The fact that he and Deontay Wilder try maybe having conversations, which, I guess anything's possible, right? But it comes back to this, right? The money. Everything's about the money. But what I wonder is just how much, because Kinahan was heavily involved with boxing, heavily involved with intimidating key decision makers in boxing. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. But you look at the fact that he's supposedly not involved with boxing now, right? They got the U.S. has a $5 million reward if anybody wants to give up information that would lead to the capture of, Kinahan or his dad or any of the associates. But really, Kinahan and his dad, but they want to get him. And I think he has a brother. They're trying to get him. But if you look at what's still going on out here in the world with the Kinahan gang, look, like this, they have a supply chain. These guys are running serious drugs, man. Out through Africa. But this stuff is, they're starting to put a lot of pressure on them, man. Just the other day, over $3 million worth of cocaine, along with other mixing devices, was seized by agents. You know what I'm saying? And what you've seen over the last 12 months, because you have a lot of informants coming together, you got a lot of the international forces coming together, and they're really trying to bring down the Kinahan cartel and their illegal business. And when I look at that, I said, you know what? We know that this whole thing's supposed to be going to trial. We understand they're trying to track down the Kinahans. But when you're out there in a country like Dubai, the father had been working a lot. His father's name is Christy Kinahan. Now, he's smart. He's a step ahead of everyone. He's been working for years of establishing a really good relationship with corrupt politicians in Zimbabwe to essentially create himself an African hideout. Now, I'm telling you right now, I don't care what anyone says, Bob Arum, Fury, anyone who was doing any kind of business with this Kinahan guy. Now that people are starting to become informants, people are turning, people are talking, you have to be sweating bullets if there was some sort of wrongdoing. Now, I'm going to sit here and say this. There's no proof. But when it comes to old man Bob Arum, when you look at the fact that this guy Kinahan, matter of fact, they just killed somebody out there in Ireland. It's connected to the mob boss. Daniel Kinahan sent, he wanted to compensate the family for the individual who was killed. And they were like, yo, we don't need your blood money. Daniel Kinahan sent a direct message. So when you look at the fact that this guy Kinahan is still out here involved with people getting murdered, you got to sit here, man, and stop for a second and say, this is bad medicine. And to think Bob Arum, 40 plus years in the sport, was somewhat in an entanglement with this guy. And then you look at the father, mob boss Chrissy Kinahan. He's out there in the Africa boat hole being protected by corrupt politicians. He's been spending more and more time there in Zimbabwe, trying to stay ahead of that damn international manhunt for him and his sons, Daniel and Christopher Jr. Let me tell you something. The father's smart. He set up that $1 billion operation to be run by his son, Daniel. That's the one who, see in the photos with Bob Arum, Tyson Fury, the guy who was out there chilling in Dubai with Terrence Crawford, the guy who was all involved with a lot of the, I think it was MTK Global. What was that? I think it was. That's the promotional outfit they disbanded out there in the UK. But anyway, let me tell you, they're using that Southern African state to do international business ventures. That's what the father is doing out there. But I'm telling you right now, there's an investigation going on. Like, they don't want the Kinahans, father's son, cousins, the damn dog. They don't want them. They don't want them in Africa. But then again, money talks. Money talks. And these politicians, man, they're corrupt. If you can put some money in their pocket, as long as the money keeps coming, they're going to keep protecting you. And when you look at the fact that these guys are having some of their shipments of drugs seized, they can't afford that. They can't afford to lose $3 million here, $10 million here, to have someone end up to give an order for someone to get murdered, and then somehow you go and try to send a direct message to the spouse or the sister of the person who got killed, trying to offer some kind of compensation. You just can't do that because you're just bringing unnecessary attention on yourself. And I just think that it's a matter of time before this Kinahan crap comes to an end. You can only run for so long, man. Zimbabwe was supposed to be part of the Kinahan's escape plan. They've been working on it for years. For years, man. There was an alliance that was struck back between 2015 and 2017 when, Kinahan Sr. was becoming desperate. And he said, you know what? I just can't keep hanging out here in Dubai because these enforcement agents are just turning heat up on me. I got to get out of there. And now that he's been afforded all this protection by greasing the palms of those corrupt politicians in Zimbabwe, man, now the international authorities are getting involved and putting that heat on him. He's starting to look a little uneasy. Let me tell you, they're still out here threatening people, man. If they don't cooperate with the cartel, that fear, that intimidation, and they will kill you. But I don't know what exactly is going to happen with all of this. But I just don't think it's good. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Bob Arum and Tyson Fury and all these other people involved in boxing had some kind of relationship with Daniel Kinahan. But what makes it worse is the fact that supposedly, right, Kinahan that was his past life, his previous life. But then you look at what's going on right now. The man's name is still coming up in executions, in murders, and, drugs being shipped from the United States to across Africa. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy what's going on. Absolutely crazy. And then when you live in that kind of lifestyle, I mean, these guys are still out here riding around in luxury vehicles and stuff like that out there in the UAE and also out there in Africa. They have a whole fleet of these vehicles. So, in my opinion, if the international community really wanted to flush these guys out and get them, I think they would. I don't know all the rules and what's preventing them from going in, but I can tell you that it seems to be that people are tired. These countries are tired, and the Kinahans they can only run for so long. They can only run for so long, man. These guys turning a blind eye to the Kinahan travels in and out of Zimbabwe. Look, at some point, someone's got to stop them in the airport. Even if it's a private jet, someone's got to greet them at the private jet and apprehend them. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. These guys are becoming the FBI's most wanted criminal. You're still trying to go out here and buy a fleet of at least 9 planes from the Egyptian Air Force to transport drugs around Africa? Let me tell you something, man. It's crazy. They're even out here trying to get marriage licenses and everything else, man, so they could set up over there in Africa. What they have going on is absolutely amazing. But what I wanted to bring to you guys is that just because things have gotten quiet, it doesn't mean there aren't still things going on with this whole Kinahan cartel. My thing is to let y'all know there's a lot of drugs, a lot of drug involvement, millions and millions and millions of dollars that these guys are touching. And when you see money's drying up in boxing, kind of makes you wonder, man. It makes me wonder just how much money is pumped into boxing that's illegal. You know what I mean? Just how much of the boxing business is corrupt. That's all I'm saying. $1 billion operation, people getting intimidated, judges getting intimidated, sanctioning bodies and stuff, having conversations with Kinahan that should have never had. His reach is extremely, extremely long. And I don't care what anyone says. The fact that Daniel Kinahan is still floating around out there in the UAE somewhere, his pops is over in Zimbabwe, I'm telling you right now, I still believe he's somehow involved in boxing. You just can't make me believe this man is out here with no involvement in boxing at all. You just can't make me believe that. But what I do hope is that with these people who are turning informants and they're coming out and talking, I really, really hope someone will flush out some particulars on what role this guy Kinahan played in boxing. And to come out and confirm there was some kind of involvement with that damn Tyson Fury-Deontay Wilder fight. Some people are going to listen to this video and say, man, here we go again. No, I'm just telling you, man. Deontay Wilder said there's no proof, so there's no proof. But what I'm saying is people are starting to talk. This whole Kinahan thing I think it's slowly coming to an end. These corrupt politicians, and I just think they're getting tired, man. Let me tell you something. When an international community decide to come together and say enough is enough, and they decide to go after a fugitive, they can get him. They can get him easy. And I hope they do. But what I hope more than anything is that we get someone or something or somehow some light gets shed on just exactly how corrupt this guy Kinahan was when it comes to boxing and just what fights he influenced and who was involved. Like, I would love to get that information. But that being said, more to come. Just know the Kinahan cartel is still out here, still sending drugs all over the place. They're trying to set up shop out there in Africa. They're still killing people out there all around the world, especially out there in Ireland. Daniel Kinahan is still out in the UAE, but the international community looks like they're putting more and more pressure on these guys. So More to come. I'll wait till I get some more information. There's always little articles about him, but nothing juicy. I kind of took several different articles and just kind of put them all together in this one video. Well, if I get something really juicy on it, I'll definitely report on it, all right? Y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans. Hopefully we get an answer on this Kinahan guy. I would love to know just what fights he had influence over. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.